so I got some
right.
questions. I got
Let's
some
do
questions.
this.
The
Let's do
speed
this.
round questions, all right?
Yep. So
This
I
is where I
got
ask you a question.
Cameras.
Right. I ask you a question, you answer it quickly and precisely, my brother, please.
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah, man.
What's been your experience in your generation with some of the things that we talked about today? The positive vibe and good vibe talk, karma, Jesus plus, all of that stuff that we talked about.
My experience?
Yeah, your experience in your generation.
Right. So my experience is that it's created an artificial community almost where we can't have real conversations.
Right.
Because saying something like, hey, yeah, I really feel like, doing this, or I feel like devastated, or I'm going through something and, I just want to punch a hole in the wall. Nah, dude, your mindset's off, or, it's like they become negative from me needing to share and confess my sin, or so real conversations couldn't happen. Like being transparent almost like came with the price. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of times our conversations were just artificial. Like, how are you doing? Is everything good? Yeah. And then keep it moving. So the honesty was handled with a lot of or labeled as negative.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Christians looking at horoscopes or tarot readings? How do you feel about that?
Well, the Bible warns us, to stay away from doing those things, from horoscopes, and those are very pagan practices.
Very common today too, though.
Right. And I don't think Christians have any business seeking those things. You're seeking signs, and a foolish generation seeks after
literally
signs.
Like, what's your sign? I've had many Christians come up to me like, you're a Virgo, aren't you? I'm like, I am, but why?
And then that comes with all these labels, like they know you without even knowing you.
I'm you know what I'm gonna do next time somebody says something like that? I'm gonna be like, no, I'm a Leo. They be like, see, I knew it. And they're gonna give me their whole spiel on what type of person I am, and I'm like, nah, I'm actually a Virgo, bro.
Yeah. I had a vibe too. It confirms it.
Right.
Whatever.
I had a vibe, yo, stop.
Whatever.
I just caught that. What do you think would be a good way to engage people that hold to these teachings right here that we're talking about? What do you think would be a good way to gauge?
I like something that Os Guinness said, or when he was talking to postmodernists.
Who?
Because, like postmodern types.
No, I'm saying who said that?
Os Guinness.
Okay, Os Guinness.
He's Anglican. Yeah, he has a good pulse on what happens culturally and the mindset out there. He talked about how instead of trying to get people out of their worldview, he talks about pushing people more into it. Right?
Yeah.
So if you will push a postmodernist more into the worldview, they'll see, and you'll see with them, that they're not really postmodernists.
Yeah, they'll see the inconsistency.
Right.
For sure.
And nobody truly lives it out. And so that's what I would do, is push them more into it to see how impractical it is. But definitely, share the gospel. Right. That's the hope. Mm-hmm. When you see the hopelessness there, you got to share the gospel. Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lando said, when I see Los's shiny McNugget head.
Thanks, man. That's my dude right over there. No doubt. No doubt. Thanks for the love.
Oh, man. How do we deal with pluralism in a church setting?
Pluralism in a church setting.
Yeah.
All right. Explain pluralism in a church setting.
Like, how are you going to deal with people in the congregation holding to other beliefs as well as Christianity? So it would be that whole Jesus plus thing that I was talking about earlier.
I got you. Well, it'd be awkward if you're dealing with that, because if the leadership is allowing for different worldviews in a church, and yet they're members of the local church, that's probably not a good church.
It's actually pretty common. I know a lot of Christians that go to church that hold on to other, that whole plus part.
I would, now again, you can have anybody come into church, and just hang out. So I think that the way you handle it as far as passive like attenders, that just come and passively attend, I would engage them in relationship, take them out for coffee, chop it up with them, be prepared to give for an answer for the hope that is in you. Don't just jump into conversations, be prepared, study and know that you're talking to a person, not to just an idea. Pick apart the idea, not the person. That's important too. And I think people can know that you really believe what you believe by how you share it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really believe what you believe? Do you mean it? And can you see this person as a person rather than a project to, sharpen your apologetic skills? That shouldn't be happening. There should be a sincerity and a desire to actually show this person what the gospel is,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm typing in the comment sections. If you guys, have any questions for us, go ahead and type them in before we conclude. I have one more question for you. What kind of effects do you think that these teachings that we talked about today might have on culture in the near future?
Right. Well, what's interesting is I don't think we've been at this place before where technology and how interconnected everybody is. I think what it's gonna do is actually shun Christianity even further. It's just we're gonna be marginalized even more. We're gonna definitely be pushed to a place where to be a Christian is going to be hard. Our jobs are on the line, for instance. Pluralism and postmodernism tend to produce cultures where anything objective is frowned on. So that means that the institution set up becomes secular, places where only certain ideas are allowed that allow for any idea. We know that the Christian faith is not that. We're already seeing it. Places that used to be seminaries are now, hosting events that are anti-Christian, and actually producing, secular, ideologies and things like that. So the very things that were important in our societies that were producing ministers are now the very things that are producing people to almost deminister, if that's a word. That's not a word, but almost like deauthorizing the Bible and just stripping culture away from Christian ideas that were influential. So I think that it's just going to worsen how culture engages true Christians. It's going to take us back to the book of Acts. And I see that as a good thing. A hard thing, very tough, but necessary, because I think that's one of the ways God purifies his church.
That's the whole filtering process.
It is what it is, man. I don't like it, but it's necessary.
Thanks for answering those questions.